All right, so today we're going to be seeing how we can build our own word counter, and we're going to be doing this with Python, just vanilla Python. We're going to be doing this with vanilla Python, and we are going to basically go through the project description, objectives, functional requirement, and output features. Every other thing here builds upon what we have described or what has been described early. And some things do not directly apply to us. Things like APIs basically doesn't really apply to this type of project because it's a beginner friendly project. And if you want to take it a step further, then you can obviously implement APIs and whatnot. But for now, we're just going to keep everything vanilla. So we're going to make it vanilla Python-ish. And we're going to be seeing how to obviously implement everything here. So I'm going to be reading through the project description, objectives, functional requirements, basically user interactions, and output features, just to brush us up, basically. So here it says the Word Counter project aims to develop a simple yet powerful web application that allows users to count the number of words, characters, and sentences in a given text. The application will be useful for writers, students, and professionals who need to keep track of their writing metrics. The goal is to provide an intuitive interface that offers real-time feedback as users input their text. Objectives: enable users to input text and receive instant word, character, and sentence counts. Allow users to easily copy results for further use. Ensure the application is accessible on various devices, including desktop and mobile devices. Functional requirements, user interaction. So basically, text input area. Users can enter or paste text into a designated input area. Real-time counting. So as users type or paste text, the application will dynamically display the count of word, characters, and sentences. Then we have the output features, which is the word count display. So you're going to show the total number of words in the imputed text, and then the character count display. So show the total number of characters, right? So one thing is is to show the total number of word. Another thing again is to show the total number of characters, right? So these are two different things, anyways. Then we also want to have like a sentence count display. So show the total number of sentences based on the standard sentence ending punctuation. So basically, a sentence ends with a full stop, right? So we're going to be able to tell if this is a sentence by the number of full stops, basically. And then copy functionality. Users can easily copy the count for their records, right? So that is basically what we're going to be going through and looping over. It's a very easy project. I know, although I'm going to break it down totally so you guys can, understand everything that is happening inside of the project. So I'm not going to be wasting much of your time. I'm just going to dive straight into the project and we can see how this work basically. Okay, so I already have a file opened up which is called word counter.py. This is a Python file. We're going to be working inside of it and we are going to see how we can build this very easily. Again, if you don't know what a Python file is, I suggest that you look at our Python course. This, has all the modules that will build, your knowledge in Python and will just give you the necessary modules required to be able to understand things around Python. So this is a word counter file in Python, and we're going to be using the VS Code editor. Now, if you like using any other code editor like Sublime Text, Atom, Notepad++, whichever one you're comfortable with, as far as you're comfortable using, and you can properly navigate through that code editor, then that is fine. For me, I like using VS Code, and I'm very competent with VS Code. So I would open this project, or I have actually opened this file up in VS Code. And when I just click VS Code, you can see we have the word counter.py file in VS Code, and we're going to be coding from here. So first thing first is I'm going to import a module called RE or regular expression. Now this is a module in Python. This is very good for, kind of guiding users on what is expected of their inputs or trying to make further analysis or advanced analysis inside of a text component or not component per se, inside of a text input, the number inputs, etc. Again, it is a very, very advanced or a very, very complex module, although it has simple functionalities that it does, which we're going to be exploring in this tutorial. But again, this is something that has been covered in our Python course, and I suggest you check it out and see how you can make use of regular expressions when you are writing codes in Python. All right. Again, it has like advanced, properties. At the same time, it has simple properties, right? But again, it's basically used as a model to make simple analysis on text inputs, number inputs, etc. within Python. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a function, and I'm going to call this count words. So just to count words, and we're going to bring in a parameter here called text. So basically, this is going to count the number of words inside of the user's input. So we're going to say return len, and then we'll just say text dot split. All right, and then we're just going to do this. So split basically is a function or a method basically that would split all of the word inside of a text, right? So let's say, for example, I am a boy. So I is a word, am is a word, boy is a word, right? So it's just going to basically, so this split is just going to split those I am a boy into three components basically, because obviously that is what it's meant for. That is what the method does, right? And then this len is actually a method that would, I think, is a function, right? Yeah, the function that would basically count the evaluation here, which is obviously going to be three if I put in I am a boy, right? So it's going to return three basically. So I'm going to create another function here called count characters, and here we're going to put in text. All right, so this is going to count the number of characters, and this would include both spaces and punctuation. So punctuation here will be perceived as a character, space as well will be perceived as a character too. So when you press your space bar, that is a character. When you put in an emoji, that is a character. When you put in apostrophe, that is also a character. So it's going to count all the characters inside of the text, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say return, and we're just going to say len, and this is going to be text, right? So it's going to count the characters. So that's what this len is going to do. It's going to count all the characters inside of this text. So the next one here is we're going to define a function, and then we're just going to say count underscore sentences, have a parameter called test, or text rather. So now this is going to count the number of sentences, which is based on the standard sentence ending punctuation. So the standard ending sentence ending punctuations are full stop, exclamation, and question mark, right? So that's how we typically end sentences in English. Now, this will be drawing inferences from the English language. Maybe it's different in French, maybe it's different in Chinese, but this would be drawing inferences from the English language so that we won't have any confusion. So here we're just going to say return, and we'll just do len. So this len is a function that just counts the number of something in something, right? That's all it does. So we're going to use the regular expression, and then we're going to say find all right? And here we're going to say, we're going to open a bracket, and we'll just do R here. Okay, and this is how we basically create regular expressions. Again, I'm not going to really delve deep into what is going on here, but what we're just saying is we want to find all of these characters here inside of the text and make that evaluation as to say, okay, this is where the text ends, this is where it stops, and make that a count. So that is what that is doing, right? Again, if you want to know more about regular expressions, please check out our Python course, and you'll be able to see more about regular expressions and what exactly it is doing. Now we're done with creating the basic functions that would make those logic for us in terms of counting sentences and counting characters and counting words. Now we can now create our main function here, which is called main, obviously. And here we're going to say print welcome to the word counter. I mean, I'm so polite, you guys. So we'll print, I mean, if I wasn't polite, I wouldn't have been saying welcome. So enter or paste, I'll say paste your text below. All right, so press enter twice to finish. So we're just going to come over here, and we're going to say press enter twice to finish. All right, and then we're going to break this into a new line. Okay, so let me just be very slow here so that everybody can tag along properly, right? So here we're just going to say lines, and we're just going to make this an empty list. Here we're going to have a while loop. So we'll say while true, right? So while true, line is going to be input. Okay. So input basically is a function that just accepts input from a user. All right. So if line equals to empty. Then here we're just going to say break. So I think I'm just going to type everything in and then I would now explain what is going on, right? So lines dot append, and then here we have line. Okay. All right. So come over to this other line and say text, and then we'll just do this n, which is new line, and here we'll just say join, and here we'll just say lines. So here we're going to count all the metrics basically. So here we have word counts, you have word count, and here we say count words, put in text. All right. So here again we have character count, and here we have count characters, and we'll put in text. And here we have sentence underscore count. All right. So here we have count sentences, and then we'll put in text. All right, so I think I should explain. Do you think I should explain at this point, or I should just okay? So let me just finish coding everything, and I would take my time and then explain from top to finish. Because if I explain now, there might be some things that I haven't done yet that will make you confused, as to what exactly am I using this particular thing for. So let me just finish coding this function, and then I would explain what exactly each line is doing. All right, so here we're going to display the results. Here we're just going to say print, and let's see below is the final result. All right, so here we say print, and here we just say word count. All right, so you know what? Let's just use an F string. So F string, here we'll say word count with our F string, and we'll just say word count. Right, so here we're just going to do print again. Use an F string here, and here we'll just say character count. All right, so have character count. All right, so print again, and then we have sentence count. All right, so here we just have sentence underscore count, and that's because we didn't put any F string here. Okay, so now we are done with this. We're going to have the copy functionality. So come over here and then we'll say while true. All right, so we'll just say copy is input, and here we'll just say would you like to copy these results? No, these results, and you just put in brackets yes, no. Right, you have to enter yes or no. Don't enter something weird. Yes, no. So strip, I'm going to strip any trailing space, and we'll make this lowercase, and then we're going to obviously evaluate it to true by coming here, and then we're going to say if copy, we're going to evaluate it to yes rather, not true. So we'll do results, we'll do results, and then we're just going to say f, so we'll say word count. All right, so we'll say word count. Hold on, let me just see results. So we'll say word count and just make it better. Word count. All right, we have here word count, right? No word counts, word count. Okay, so then we'll break it down, and obviously we'll have character count in the next line. So just do n here, and here we have character count, and this would be character count. So same thing. And so this n that I'm doing is actually called new line, basically. Just add a new line to the output. That's just what it's doing. Nothing too fancy. All right, so let me just take this down a bit. Okay, so next one is going to be sentence count. And sentence count is going to be sentence underscore count. Again, we'll come over here and then we're going to say try, and we can just do import paperclip. So paperclip is not a library, or it's not a module that is contained in the default Python package or in the default Python installation, right? So you have to install this separately, And I already have this installed. That's why I'm able to import it. So I'm going to show you the command to run to install and import the library into of your Python environment. So we're just going to do hyperclip, right, dot copy. And then we'll just say it's going to copy results, right? And here we're just going to say print. Here we're going to say results copied to clipboard, right? And except we have an import error, except there's an import error, what we can do, we can just say print oh shit, no, sorry. Unable to copy. Let's say please install Paperclip. So you can install Paperclip by doing pip, or can I say run pip install Paperclip. So I'd also leave it for you down here. You can just say pip and then install Paperclip, right? This is going to install the module for you, basically, or the library, right? So here we're going to have a live copy. A live copy is no. We're just going to break out of the loop, right? And here we'll just say else. Print type yes or no, right? I mean, because why would you want to be weird and not type yes or no? Anyways, just hold on. Let me just. Okay, so print, please type in yes or no. All right. So at this point, we're just gonna say Ming. Okay, so I'm going to explain everything from the beginning again, all the way to this line 53, which is the last line there. Okay, so first line here we import the RE, which is the short form for regular expressions. So this is something we use in Python for making some good analysis and for also making, it's very close to what I would call a local AI in Python, right? It's called a local, I call it a local AI basically. So it does some nice analysis, especially with words and user inputs basically. So the second thing here we have is a function which is count word. So this is going to count the number of word inside of that user input or inside of this text, which would be the user's input, right? So this would split the words or the text into words. That is what the split method is doing here. And then this len is going to count the number of words that has been splitted from the text. Now here we have another function called count characters. Now count characters basically would count all the characters inside of the text, right, or user input. And characters will include punctuation, words, and spaces. So these are all included as characters. And this len is going to calculate all of the characters inside of this text or inside of the user's input. Now the next function here we have is count sentences, and count sentences would make use of this regular expression, and we're going to be extending the find all functionality inside of this regular expression, and we're going to be finding all of the sentences or all of the sentences that ends with this three things here, which is full stop, exclamation mark, and question mark. And then we're going to find it inside of this text and we're going to count those things, right? So basically, we're going to find, these things inside of this text and we're just going to count it, right? So why is that logical? That is logical because in the English language, sentences end with a full stop, with an exclamation mark, or with a question mark, right? And that exactly is what we're going to count, just to say, okay, since we can see one full stop, or we can see one exclamation, or we can see, one question mark, then it most likely means that that is a sentence, or that is where a sentence ends. Now, here we have the main function, which will be shown to the users, or this is how the users can interact with the application. And then we're going to print out some, very interesting things like welcome to the word counter, enter or paste your text below, press enter twice to finish. Now, this line is very important because if you want to terminate, so once you enter a word or once you enter your text, right? To basically terminate that input or to basically terminate that while loop, you'd have to press enter again And I'll show you basically what that means. So in line 16, we had to initialize an empty list, and then we assigned it to this variable called lines. Line 18, we have this while loop, assigned it to true, or we had the while loop to run for an infinite number of times because we are setting it to true, right? And here we are saying line is equals to user input. So user input is basically how the user would input a text into the script. So we can just say enter your text here. Enter your text here basically. Okay, so the user would enter his or her text in this box here. And here we say if line is equal to an empty string, we want to break. So when you enter the text, right, which is here, you press enter, right? Now when you press enter twice again, that will set the line to an empty string, and then that will tell Python to break the loop, right? And then make the calculations. Okay. So lines.append is lines. So basically what is going to happen here is we're now going to add user inputs inside of this variable here so we can make all our analysis and all the logic and apply everything we want to apply to this variable called lines, right? Now this line is what is responsible for getting the user input, and after we've gotten the user input, we're just simply going to add that user input, or just pour in that user input into this variable called lines. So the next thing here is with the word counter. Okay, so basically, okay, let me just go over to this one. So what is going on here now is at this point, we are going to create a new line, right? We're going to create new lines for the text. Or alternatively, let me just break it down further. We're going to create a new text variable here, all right? And here we're going to say we want to join everything together. If it's a new line, if it's an empty space, we want to join everything together. And what do we want to join together? We want to join everything that is inside of this variable here called lines. I think that makes more sense explaining. All right, so right here we're going to have word count, which is a variable, character count, which is a variable, sentence count, which is a variable, and they are all going to be drawing inferences from these functions here. Now we have the count word function, which we obviously define at the top. We have the count character function, which is defined here, the count sentences function, which is defined here. Now, all these functions basically would do their work because of what is contained inside of them, right? So now they'll do their work with analysis, and when they're done, we're going to print out the outputs to the screen. So here we're using an F string that will tell us the word count, the character count, the sentence count as well too. And when that is done, we're going to have another while loop execute, and we're setting the while loop to true, which means it's going to run for an infinite number of times. And then we're going to have a variable called copy and ask the user if they want to copy the results, right? So if they say yes, or if they type in yes, we are just simply going to get all of the results for the inputs that they had initially, and we're going to assign it to a variable called results. Now we're going to try to copy this to the clipboard using the paperclip module or paperclip library. Now this does not come with the Python package. You have to install this separately. And if you have this already installed in your environment, you should be able to import the module or the library and then copy the result to the clipboard, right? So once you copy the result to the clipboard, it just tells you results copied to the clipboard, right? So you just have the sense that, okay, this has been copied to the clipboard, so you can paste it anywhere for your own reference. Now, if you have an import error, which will be brought in by this except block, then you're just going to see unable to copy, please install paperclip, run pip install paperclip to install paperclip. And then I left a comment for you guys here simply telling you how to install paperclip in your own environment. So here we have a if copy is equals to no, and then we want to break. So if the user do not want to copy this text, then we're just going to break from the while loop and end everything as it is. Else, if they enter something not yes or no, we want to tell them to enter a yes or no answer, basically, and then the while loop continues afresh. So that exactly is how we're going to do this. I believe my explanation is well articulated, and we're going to see everything work in action when I hit this run button. So when I hit this run button, okay, so I'm just going to do X. I'm just going to break out of this first of all. All right, so let me just run this again one more time. Now you can see enter or paste your text below. Press enter twice to finish. All right, so I need to get a text. So I'm just going to get this lorem ipsum. So let me just get that quickly. Just hold on. Let me just generate like a random text with lorem ipsum. All right, so just hold on 1 minute. All right, so let me just copy what I've generated already. So Control C to copy, and then I'll come over here and then I'll just paste it in here. Right, so pasting it in here, I'll press enter. All right, and I'll just press enter again. Right, so you can see here it says below is the final result. So we have word count, which is 36, right? Character count, which is 231, and then the sentence count is obviously 3. So here it says, would you like to copy this result? If I should enter soda, something, it tells me, please type in yes or no. What is wrong with you? And obviously, I'll just type in yes. And then you can see results copied to clipboard. Now I can just, close this out and I can come over here and Control V, and then you can see it's copied to my clipboard. That is why I'm able to paste this. So I can also copy like a longer version of Lorem Ipsum. Let's copy a longer version as well too. And Control C. All right, so it has more words basically and more sentences inside of it, I believe. So I can come over here again and run this one more time. Oh yeah, hold on. All right, let me copy this just to make sure. Let me just do Control C over here to clear things out. Let everything be good again. So I run, and here it says enter your text. So I'll just do Control V. All right. Hold on. I think something is off somewhere. Hold on. Let me just. I think I copied something I was supposed to copy. So let me do Control C to break out of this again. Now let me copy my text again and I will run this. All right, so here I'll just do Control V. Now this is my text. I will enter and I'll press enter again to break out of this. Now you can see here it says word count is 69, character count you have 445, and then sentence count here we have 4, right? Now this is obviously way bigger than the last one that we did. And here we have, would you like to copy this result? Yeah, I want to copy this result. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to press yes, or type in yes rather. And, or let me just type in no so you guys can see the experience. So when I type in no, now it just ends, basically, it just ends the program. Now, if I should do this and paste, now this is just going to paste the lorem ipsum text for me, meaning that, the result was not copied to the clipboard. So Control Z or Z to, just go back, which would in turn will clear things out. So this is how to do your own word counter application or script using vanilla Python or raw Python. This is very easy and straightforward, and it's something that you can do at your own time. You can just take a look at the source code and implement it, by yourself. It's very straightforward and simple to understand. And let me know if you have any questions. You can send us an email, let us know, and basically we'll be there to assist you all the way. All right, so you can just glance through this one more time, do something like this. You can tweak the code to fit into what you want, make something more fancy than this, add more features if you wish, basically, and let's see what you're building. All right, so I'm going to see you in another tutorial where we build, amazing applications. Bye for now.